At item 7.15, Memorandum of Understanding between the School Board of Okaloosa County, Florida and Okaloosa County, Florida on behalf of its Department of Corrections. So that takes us through the changes that we have to the agenda. Colleagues, help me remember that at 6:15 we do have a public hearing. And let me just ask, are there any cards, blue cards or yellow cards? Ms. Mary, do we have any? I was just going to say that we'll call for those later. Okay. All right, so that takes us down to the agenda, and we need a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bryant.
Second.
That was a close one. I'll go ahead and give the second this time to Mr. Heinley. Any discussion? All right, all in favor, let's vote.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. We have no recognitions tonight, no administrative personnel appointments. On Section 5, we called for cards, and none were given to us. On Section 6, committee and staff reports, those were information reports that we received today at our workshop. And that brings us down to the approval of the consent agenda that we went over this morning. So I need a motion.
I'll move it.
A motion by Ms. Ivanchek.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bryant. Any discussion? Being none, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Let's go ahead now and move on down through Section 7. Taking us to Section 8, information only. 8.1, employees on administrative leave. 8.2 was also information only, deferred retirement option program by Dr. Hale. And then 8.3, this is an action item. Heroes in the Classroom bonus program application for fiscal year 24-25 by Ms. Lindsay Maxey and recommended by the superintendent.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Heinley.
Second.
Second by Ms. Ivanchek. Any discussion? Being none, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. 8.4, employment separations presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bryant.
Second.
Second by Mr. Destin. Any discussion? Being none, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. 8.5, personnel recommendations presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent.
So
moved.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. Heinley, second by Mr. Bryant. Any discussion? Being none, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. 8.6, employee transfers presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bryant,
Second.
second by Ms. Ivanchek. Any discussion? Being none, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. 8.7, employee suspension presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Ivanchek,
Second.
second by Mr. Heinley. Any discussion? Being none, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. 8.8, employee suspension presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bryant,
Second.
second by Mr. Heinley. Any discussion? Being none, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. 8.9, employee suspension presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Destin,
Second.
second by Mr. Bryant. Any discussion? Being none, let's vote. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 5-0. 8.10, leave without pay presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Heinley.
Second.
Second by Ms. Ivanchek. Any discussion? Being none, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. No items on discussion. On Section 10, construction program owners' representatives business. Mr. Heinley, is there anything that you'd want to share this evening?
That brief will be given at the next board
Yes, sir.
meeting.
Yes, sir. All right, thank you. Just wanted to make sure.
And nothing else.
Okay, all right. And then 10.2 is TPM program number 6, task order number 37, scope modification number 1, pre-GMP for sales tax HVAC projects, presented by Dr. Smith and recommended by the superintendent. It's an action item.
So
we need a motion by Mr. Bryant.
Second.
Second by Mr. Destin. Any discussion? Being none, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. 10.3, TPM Program Number 6, Task Order Number 24, Scope Modification Number 5, Central Administration Phase 3 Design, presented by Dr. Smith and recommended by the Superintendent.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bryant.
Second.
Second by Ms. Evancheck. Any discussion? Being none, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. 10.4, TPM Program Number 6, Task Order Number 43, GMP Okaloosa Technical College, OTC, North Interior Renovations, presented by Dr. Smith and recommended by the Superintendent.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bryant.
Second.
Second by Mr. Destin. Any discussion?
Just one quick
Yes, sir.
note. Really excited about this. It's coming to fruition, the North Campus OTC, so really excited to see the finished product.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bryant. All right, so we have a motion and a second?
Second.
So any more discussion? Being none, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. 10.5, Program Number 6, Task Order Number 35, Pineview School, Destin Elementary School, and Baker School additions, Prime Contract Change Order Redistribution, presented by Dr. Smith, Facilities and Planning, and recommended by the Superintendent.
I'll move it.
Motion by Ms. Evancheck,
Second.
second by Mr. Bryant. Any discussion?
One question there, Dr. White.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Myers, we gonna make the August 26th Pineview opening? I only do this because we're 18 months away.
God willing, yes, sir.
All right. Any other questions?
Well, not questions, but the pictures that we saw last time, I mean, they're not wasting no time.
Oh, they're looking good.
No snowstorm, no,
Yeah, they're moving. Okay, so we've got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All right, being none, let's vote. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 5-0. All right, so Mr. Attorney, that takes you to your business, sir.
No report tonight.
Yes, sir. And then Superintendent, you've got some out-of-state student trip requests, and you may have something tonight, so if so, please share.
I appreciate it, Dr. White and School Board. It is nice to be back. As you might know, I was down south at a superintendent conference and then followed by the FHSAA board meeting. And so being gone for about a week is not something that I enjoy. So I'm very excited to get back here. I got back late this afternoon, so got home, changed, and came here today. I would like Ms. Carr to come forward for a second, and now she's saying, oh gosh, what am I coming forward for? I want to just say the annual report that we did last year, as you know, prior to the annual report, we would do an email out to folks. And we did an annual report this last year to really memorialize the type of things that are happening in the school district. And as you know, this is a project that was a partnership between the school district and BitWizards and Talking Parents Company. And Mrs. Card just let me know today that BitWizards may have received some accolades for that.
They did. They actually submitted the annual report here regionally in Pensacola where they won an award. It's called an Addy Award. So essentially it's a public relations, and they do this on an annual basis. Well, they actually got the top tier award, the gold award. So now that they will be putting that up against other recipients and their awards at the statewide level. So in addition to that, we also went ahead and I've submitted this award for Sunspra and looking at also with NSPRA as well. So we'll see what happens.
Sunspra, tell us what Sunspra is.
So essentially,
Sunshine
it's
State
basically an organization
Relations
that works
Association.
with, the Public Relations Association, people like me across the state of Florida that work in school districts. So looking forward to actually attending their first conference in May. But it's a great opportunity to network and then basically being able to showcase all the great things the school districts are doing across the state of Florida. So happy to have Okaloosa part of that. So,
That's
It
great.
is a great report. Good job.
yeah, no problem.
And Ms. Card, as you know, is very humble, and it took a lot of work, and she had to coordinate with each of our assistant superintendents and their departments to get all of that information, how to get it in writing, narrative form, to get it to BitWizards, to get it into print. So there was a lot that went into that just beyond the nice publication coming out. So just appreciate that work.
No problem. Happy to be a part of it, and now I get to start all over again next month.
Well, I was going to say, you might have set the standard pretty high.
We'll see what we can do.
Ms.
Thank
Carr,
you.
how long have you been working for the district?
I will be with the school district 3 years in November. So
I had heard things that before you came on, how it was lacking, the communication part of it. So kudos to you on that. So.
I appreciate that. Very much a team effort, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be a part of the team. So thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. And I do appreciate you saying that, Mr. Hindley. I would also echo, I think it's nice to have a communications department. And when I say department, in essence, department of two. But, and there's also Mr. McNeely and some others who do some things. But in terms of that outward piece to the public, Ms. Card, Mr. Mers do an absolute outstanding job of getting that information out to folks. I do want to say, just with our senior staff sitting here, it's a busy time of the year, as you know. We have Ms. Perry, who's looking at budgets, getting department budgets created, getting them turned in, and then actual school budgets will be created in the April-May timeframe once the legislature gets that back. But she's already doing preliminary work on that based on the governor's budget and estimating, so we're prepared. And then you look at what Mr. Meyer's doing, getting ready for a capital budget, both on the half-cent sales tax, making sure we're hitting all of the school project lists, which we are, but also looking beyond that in terms of the referendum, and then the capital side as well. And then Mr. Spolsky with Mrs. Perry looking at master schedules and making sure that teacher allocations are what they need to be per school. As you know, that's our budget. So Mr. Spolsky's role in that, making sure that we are as conservative as we can be, but also making sure that we provide what the schools need, is a process that he went through last year for the first time on this side of the house, and that with Mr. Horton, and this year he'll be venturing solo. But he's already hitting the ground running on that. Just want the board to know that. We will take a conservative approach, but want to make sure that the schools also get what they need. This is a busy time of the year, and just wanted to just do some highlights of that. And of course, Dr. Hale sitting there on the HR side, where they will prepare all of the budget pieces that deal with staffing and all the communication that has to happen with the schools, which is a monumental task going into the summer. 3,500 employees. That's all I have, Dr. White.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Superintendent. All right, so that brings us down to Section 13, Board Members' Announcements and Requests for Information. First, I would like to call for the submission of Peggy Gorte Bruner Award ballots. So if you would pass those down this way, and then we'll give those to Miss Mary. Yeah, I folded mine. There you go.
Well, it's
Thank
coming
you.
this way anyway, right?
Going down
There
that
you
way,
go.
that's right.
Is this yours?
Okay,
You
all
cheat.
right.
Oh.
So that takes care of 13.1. Ms. Mary's in receipt of those, and we are now at 6:15. And as my friend reminded me, it's time for our public hearing. So, colleagues, if you'll scroll down to 15.1. 15.1 is a public hearing for the proposed rezoning of the attendance area dually zoned for Ruckle Middle School, Blue Water Elementary School, and Destin Middle School, presented by Mr. Ryan Gore, Program Director Transportation, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. Is there any comment? Anyone from the public wish to speak to this? All right, hearing none, I need a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bryant,
Second?
second by Mr. Hindley. Any discussion?
Yes, Dr. White, I'd just like to go on the record. This is my district, and I've heard from several parents that will be impacted by this. But I wanted to share publicly what the numbers are. There's currently 31 students that are going to Destin in that zone. 23 of those are in 7th and 8th grade. 8 are in 5th and 6th grade. So the 23 will not be impacted because transportation will be taken care of through next year. And those 8, and then following in 26, 27, fifth graders won't be going to Destin Middle School. They'll be going to Destin Elementary when the new wing is thing. So the impact's going to be minimal. There will be some impact for a few people, but you know, we get in tough spots up here and we have to make decisions. And it boils down to a numbers game. And so that's where I stand on that.
Well, thank you for your comments and thank you for that review. You've obviously looked into it a lot. Anyone else wish to comment?
I'd just like to say that I know that it's going to impact some, and that's difficult, but I also think that the district is being more than generous in the timing, you know, allowing, you know, I think this first came out back in January or so, and allowing the rest of this year and a full school year beyond for those individuals to prepare, make other arrangements. They certainly have the right to, you know, go through the process of allowing those students to continue if they want to go to Destin Middle. There's a process, and I would think they would be looked at because they'd been there. So I just think it's very generous of our district to give such leeway time to make different arrangements. And it's always difficult when you have to make these choices, like you said, difficult situation, but we just have to sometimes. And again, I think that they have plenty of time to make plans.
And to piggyback on that, Dr. White,
Yes, sir.
school's choice is still available, and those students that want to go because they're there, they'll be, even if the school is at capacity, they'll be given those waivers. You know, they'll work through the district and given that. So that's still an option. It's just the transportation that will affect very few.
All right. Anything further, colleagues? All right, it's time to call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried 5-0. All right, so now we'll go back up and we were doing board members' business. And Ms. Ivanchek, I think it's your turn.
I have nothing more than this morning. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Bryant?
No comments, sir.
Okay, all right. Mr. Destin?
Nope, said everything this morning. Thank you.
All right. Well, that takes us through the public hearing, and there are no other cards. Is that correct, Miss Mary? All right. So that brings us to the conclusion of our meeting. Anything else at the dais? We're all good here, staff? Okay, all right. This meeting is adjourned.